Hello again to this video clip series, My Journey to God in a Very Secularized World. Continuing with this general discussion on the many traps, powerful traps, hidden traps that lead so many people away from the truth that sets us free of God and toward the false truth of the world, which today gives us pleasure and tomorrow makes us slaves and leads us to hell. We are very quickly arriving to the fulfillment of the prophecy of St. Francis of Assisi about how people rebel against virtue and God and good example. More than ever before in the history of the world, and even in the church, we can apply the words of the prophet Isaiah. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil. Very few adults today, after the sexual revolution, had a father according to God's designs, and thus these adults remained very handicapped in facing a very difficult world filled with beautiful and alluring temptations and traps, which offer the easy but deadly way. Without the guidance and formation of good parents, the children will be formed by the world with Satan as the prince of the world, the father of lies. But there's always hope. One can recuperate true and godly manhood if one regularly spends time on his knees before the Blessed Sacrament and with his rosary. The films 60 years ago often gave us this evangelical model of a man. For example, the sheriff in the film High Noon, 1952, with Cooper. Many people fake being true males, but only end up to the point that they do not have to lose something to which they have let their hearts become attached to, especially the glory before people. And people try to fake to be mature and everything else, but if they're not going toward God, they can't be true men. They slowly slide into blindness with each compromise in order to defend these attachments that they have taken. These are the false heroes presented to us on the television today. The sons who did not receive the experience to be close to a true man according to God do not even know the difference between the false and true man. The most true man was totally humiliated on the cross 2,000 years ago and crucified. This is the model of the authentic man. He gave his life for others, which today the world which surrounds us and influences does not at all understand, and so many as so many Catholics today don't understand. Also, how many wives have not put God, the truth, before her husband or her mother or any other person or thing? Spoiled and undisciplined children concentrate on the sins of their parents and then tell them to shut up. This is the normal strategy toward all authority today, not only in the family but in the church, which in effect is telling God, who gave us lawful authority here on earth for our true good to protect the flock, to shut up, to tell God to shut up. Thus, few fathers of the families or priests or bishops today have the formation, the strength of the courage to offer true love, true mercy, and true compassion. Not misguided compassion, but guided compassion. With God, all things are possible, as Jesus told us, Mark 10. Those who pray ardently every day hold Christ before them as their model, and then realize how far they have to go to imitate Christ, and also obtain the strength from Christ to do what is right and good for themselves and for others from an eternal perspective. They also begin to see things from the point of view of God and thus become more grateful for all that their parents have done for them and for all that God has given them, which is everything they have. Those who do not pray with sincerity and humility end up setting themselves up as the model and go around criticizing others according to themselves and their relativistic masked egoism, to which they are generally blind to. They see things only from their small, closed, egotistical point of view, and thus do not see all that their parents and God have given to them, including all the sacrifices their parents and Jesus on the cross have done for them. When things do not go the way they want, they throw a tantrum, even as adults, but in a more sophisticated and disguised way. You know, good parents, priests, and bishops are accused of lack of charity because they preach the whole gospel. But if Christ was the perfect model of the gospel, why was Christ crucified? Why were most of the prophets in the Old Testament put to death? And why did Our Lady of Fatima show the 3 children hell? In the Gospels, Jesus spoke more about hell than about heaven. Perhaps those of our modern and enlightened age who accuse good parents, priests, and bishops of lack of charity because they live and preach the whole gospel would like to give some advice to Christ, to the prophets and to Our Lady. They think they're smarter than God. Christ founded the church on 12 sinners, not on 12 perfect angels from heaven, as the immature critics believe to be, while portraying themselves as humble and virtuous. In Hebrews, St. Paul writes, "My son, do not regard lightly the discipline of the Lord, nor lose courage when you are punished by him. For the Lord disciplines him whom he loves, and chastises every son whom he receives." It's much easier to receive discipline out of love at the age of 9 or 10 or earlier from one's father than to receive discipline for the same fault at the age of 50 or 60 from the police or in prison. After continuing to nurture and defend and justify a particular fault for 40 or 50 years, it is very difficult to receive fraternal correction even from someone who desires the best for us. A man in prison, one time I saw this on television, EWTN, a man in prison for over 20 years said that his father did not love him because his father always let him do whatever he wanted to and never offered any discipline. He had the grace to understand that. Most of them don't come to that point to understand that. Children often rebel at the discipline of their parents, but children do not respect parents who do not offer their children discipline out of love. It's true. They don't want discipline, but they don't respect parents who don't give discipline. That's true. There are many Catholics today who even frequent the parish but are there with the attitude that religion exists to serve us instead of helping us to serve God. It's reversed. My will be done, not thy will be done. You know, in order to help us to discover God's holy will and to get the grace to do that. The first question in our catechisms as children was, who created you? We responded, God created me. The second question, why did God create you? We responded, to know, to love, and to serve God so as to be with God in heaven for all eternity. Today, for the great majority of Catholics, it is all reversed. Religion, the parish, the pastor, all exist to serve me, not to help me to serve God. At times I have said to some people in my parish who want to put me straight according to what they are used to in many parishes today, a Christianity without the cross, with no mention of sin or of temporal or eternal consequences of sin. I say to them, if I do not offer the homily based on the Catechism of the Catholic Church for adults, I will go to hell. And I will not go to hell for anyone. Not you. Was this not the admonishment of God to the prophet Ezekiel, chapter 33, verse 7 to 9? Each of us must make the fundamental choice to make a leap of faith to God when we do not understand everything before God in His divine revelation. Very often, especially today, following Christ and His divine revelation explained infallibly by His church It can seem impossible from our point of view, especially with a world that's gone wild. It is impossible to live the beautiful vocation of matrimony or the great vocation of holy orders without God's grace. Each of us, with their respective God-given vocations, must repeat often in our journey of life the words of St. Peter when he did not understand fully Christ's words about the Eucharist. St. Peter said, "Lord, to whom shall we go? You have words of eternal life." John 6:68. Will we follow the example of St. Peter or of Judas Iscariot and the many disciples who abandoned Jesus in chapter 6 of John? This human drama and fundamental choice for each of us is illustrated well at the beginning of the Office of Readings in the invitatory Psalm 95. I will end this video clip here. May God bless you and Mary guide you.